Just going to hang fire and wait for some people to join. I'm a little bit early, actually. Yes, Mark Bridge on Facebook. I don't think there's ever been anything more nerve-wracking than sitting in front of your computer and waiting to see if people are going to actually turn up and ask questions or get involved. Yeah, it could just be me drinking a brew at this rate. I am a little bit early though. Just wait for a few more people to come online. See if everyone can hear me on Instagram. Mike Cousins, can you hear me there? Crazy Smurf sent a request to be in your live video. Okay. Needs to be in it. Yes, Crazy Smurf. So if you're wondering why my eyes are moving from one position to the other, it's because I'm running Facebook on one computer and then I'm running Instagram on my phone on the other side. Ah, okay. So my friend Mark Bridge, he can't comment because he's actually on a Facebook ban. Good man. Well, you're going to have to listen. And if you've got a question, Mike, you can send it to me. Hey, Shelley. Eddie's on the blink as well. Yes, Stuart Ogden. A few people tuning in now. Do you know what? I should have just done this on Instagram because there's not many people on it. Yo, what do you think of the beard, Stu? Anyway, listen, the reason I'm doing this is because I just think it's a good idea. I think it's good to put content out there. And this is the kind of stuff I talk about with my clients on a daily basis. And I just want to spread it to a wider audience. So if anybody's got any questions regarding fitness, nutrition, their diet, any questions at all, or their training, you know, if there's something you've ever wanted to ask a trainer, I'm a trainer. I've been a trainer now for probably going on 15 years. I feel like I'm qualified to tell you about this stuff. I've got a degree in sports science. I've got a postgraduate qualification in strength and conditioning. I've competed at British level in kickboxing. I'm a third dan black belt in kickboxing. I am an ABA qualified boxing coach. I'm also a level 2 box and burn boxing coach. So I'm qualified to talk to you about this stuff. And I just don't, you know, I think if anyone's got a question, just fire away. Or it'll just be me chatting to myself. Phil, ask me a question, mate. Yes, Danny? It's going to be me drinking a brew in my kitchen. And Gorse, you're here. So if anyone's just come on now and they're wondering why I'm looking at in one place and then I'm looking in the other place, it's because I'm on Facebook on one computer and then on my phone I'm on Instagram. So I guess it's just a case of waiting for questions to roll in. Anybody want to ask anything? Huma Hussein has asked me what the best tip is to get your metabolism going. There's a lot of talk about apple cider vinegar at the moment, and having a teaspoon or tablespoon of that in the morning. That might help things, and it might help aid in digestion as well. I think your best bet is to get exercising. That would be my my first port of call, get in the gym, get doing some cardio, get doing some weight training, and get exercising, and that should fire your metabolism up and get it moving a little bit. Yeah, I hope that helps you with your question there. But I mean, there's a million answers to that question, but I would just get in the gym and get your metabolism firing. If it's not firing, if you've been doing that and you've been training all this time and you don't think your metabolism's firing, then I would have a look at how many calories you're actually consuming. That would be my first port of call. So I'm just looking over here, and Nigel has asked me, how many reps do I usually do when I'm working out? So that's a good question, because I do a massive array of reps. So it's not like I come in, and I used to back in the day. When I say back in the day, I mean like 15, 20 years ago. So 15, 20 years ago, I would do, I would be a 4 sets of 6 man, and I would go as heavy as I could for those 6 reps for 4 sets. And I would write the weight down, and then the next week I would try and do a little bit more of that. I think that was Chad Waterbury, maybe 10 years ago, that I was following then. And then there was a guy who did 15 reps for a while, because I thought I would burn more fat doing 15 reps. Now I'm a guy that goes in the gym, and predominantly I'm concerned with keeping strength, but my goal is an aesthetic goal. So I want to keep as much muscle as possible, and I want to lose as much fat as possible. So, but also at the same time, so tracking your strength while you are dieting is one way of knowing that you're still keeping muscle. So I will usually do the big compound exercises. So I usually do bench press, and that will be 5 sets of 5 or 4 sets of 6 or whatever it be, on the heaviest weight I can do possible. And that will be the one thing that I track, the bench press. So it will be the 4 main lifts for me will be the bench press, the squat, the deadlift, and the military press. And those will be the ones that I base all my training around. Not all the time, but when it comes to advice for other people, I would say make sure that you're doing lower reps on those kind of exercises, on the big compound exercises, and making sure that your strength is increasing week in, week out. And then I do a varied array of reps. Sometimes I'll do up to 16 or 17 or 21 reps or more, depending, a lot of the time now. And this has come around because I've been in this a long time. I actually just go for the pump, like Arnold used to do, I just go and train, and I go until my muscles feel like they want to pop, or until I lose good form. And even when I lose good form, let's say this is a bicep curl, and I started off here. Once I start losing form, I just shorten the rep range down and try and get a few more out, And it's all about getting blood into the muscle, causing as much damage to the muscle as you possibly can, as many micro tears to the muscle, and then getting in and getting it repaired as quick as possible. Long-winded answer, and there's a million different ways to answer it, and there'll be a million different people saying a million different things, but that's my go-to rep range. Bench press, squat, deadlift, military press, all of them are in 4 sets of 6 or 5 sets of 5, and then the rest of them I completely wing it. I don't even count. I just go until I feel like my arms are going to pop, or that I just go for the feel in the muscle nowadays. I hope that answers your question, Nigel. And that was a good question, because ask me tomorrow, I might have a different answer for you. So I'm just going back through some of the questions that have been asked on Instagram here. And so Phil, he's a pal from New York, has actually asked me how babies are made. And well, considering I don't have one yet, I don't actually have the answer for you there, mate. We've got the metabolism going. What we got? How many calories in the kebab? Too many. Don't eat one, you fat bastard. Let me carry on down here. Now he's just stocky out his head. Okay, that makes no sense at all, Omar. But yeah, thank you for your question. No problem, Nigel. So Shelley has asked, what's the best way to work out and how many calories should you have in one day? Two big, massive questions. What's the best way to work out? What's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? If it's a body composition goal and you're trying to lose fat and gain muscle, then predominantly you want to be concerned with gaining muscle and looking at getting a calorie restriction somehow, either restricting calories through food or restricting or burning more calories on a daily basis. So as a rule of thumb, when it comes to, and this is massively different for everyone, but to be honest, it's not that far out. So I always go, and I don't know where it came from, it might have come from you, Stuart Ogden. I always get my body weight in pounds, So 2.2 pounds in a kilo, work out your body weight in pounds. I'm about 190 pounds. And I will multiply that by 11. And then that's where I'll start calorie-wise. If you don't track your calories, that's fine. You will get somewhere for a while if you've got fat to lose. But at some point, you're going to have to figure out how many calories you're eating. And you're going to have to create a deficit. Now, you can create a deficit by doing exercise. Obviously, that would be a good way of creating a deficit. Or you can create a deficit by restricting calories through food, yeah? So don't eat as many calories. Or you could do a combination of both, which I found to be the most effective. And throughout my time as a trainer, it's always worked for me when I've said to somebody, multiply your body weight by 11, body weight in pounds by 11, okay? The higher you start with calories, the more room you have to move when it comes to adjusting things along the way. So let's say at the beginning of this year, I was 15 stone 5, okay? I'm going to be competing in a couple of weeks and I'm down to like 13 stone 4. So I've lost 2 stone since January, right? If you see the picture of me, January, I look like a jacket potato. Hence why I'm growing a little bit of a beard right now, just to take away the fact that everybody thinks I'm very ill at the moment, when I'm not. I'm probably in the best shape of my life, but by the by. So at the beginning of the year, I was probably eating around 3,500 calories. And 3,500 calories I was enjoying thoroughly. I was eating pizza, I was having ice cream at the weekend. I didn't really give a shit. But then, there becomes a time when I start thinking about maybe getting a little bit leaner, okay? So a holiday is looming. So I start the diet. 3,700 calories becomes 3,500 calories straight away. So in a couple of weeks, I've lost like 3 or 4 pounds. But then I stall a little bit. So I've got 2 ways I can go. I can do a little bit more exercise, or I can restrict the calories a little bit more. It's probably easier for me to restrict the calories a little bit more because I'm busy on a daily basis. I don't get that much time to do cardio. So I restrict the calories a little bit. I'm taking them down to 3,400, okay? Then I lose a couple of pounds, in the week. And the week after, I'm not losing again. I go down a little bit more, 3,200 calories. Right now, I'm on about 2,000 calories a day, and I'm fine with it. I'm tired because I'm working long hours, but I'm not tired as I'm tired from calories. And I've taken all year to get down to that point. Right now, I really don't want to go any more lower than 2,000 calories. So I'll go the opposite way. I'll increase my energy expenditure. So I'll start by burning 200 calories walking on a treadmill, and I'll bring in the steady state cardio. Now I've got 2 weeks before a competition, and I've still got ways I can manipulate my diet. So my advice to anyone when they're starting out and they're gonna eat clean is they're gonna look to restrict calories, is to just make it really simple to start with, But you can't do this without knowing what's going in, okay? It's like the program Secret Eaters. People don't know what they're actually eating on a daily basis. They don't know this. Eating, consuming. It's like when you grate cheese and you put it on your food. What do you do with that little bit of cheese that's left? There's nothing you can do with it because you're going to lose all the skin off your fingers grating it. So you just eat it. There you go. That's probably 100 calories that you didn't account for. What about the cooking that you do? What about the oil that you put in the food? 1 tablespoon of olive oil, is going to be around 90 calories. You had a bag of nuts today, 600 calories in a bag of nuts. You've got to look and you've got to teach yourself and learn about yourself and what diet fits for you. That's the way I found this whole thing works well for people, is if they just do it themselves rather than being told, right, eat this, eat that, eat this, eat that. And you're just going to go, fuck this, fuck that, don't want this, don't want that, don't like this, don't like that. All right, well, figure out what it is that you like eating and put it within your calories, and then you'll be successful. And then reevaluate further down the line. Have a look at, you didn't lose weight this week, or you didn't lose inches this week, and you beat yourself up about it. But did you try them jeans on that didn't fit last week? Because you will lose fat all over. You won't just lose fat off your belly button. That'll probably be the last place you lose it anyway. You can ask me about that. That was a massive, long-winded answer, and I went off on a tangent. But I hope it helped you, Shelley, and I hope that answered your question. And let's have a look and see what is going on down here. So Crazy Smurf has asked me, what is better, calorie counting or watching the content of what you eat? Regardless of what you do, if you watch the content of what you eat, which basically sounds like calorie counting anyway, if you watch the content of what you eat, let's just say I say to you, eat fish and rice cake, yeah? Eat fish and rice. You should lose weight eating fish and rice, shouldn't you? But if you ate 8 portions of fish and 8 portions of rice a day, you're probably going to be in a calorie, what's the word? You're going to be eating more calories than you're burning off. So it all comes down to a calorie deficit at the end of the day, regardless of whether you get that calorie deficit from movement and exercise, or you get that calorie deficit from counting your calories. So is counting your calories better? Yeah, it's better. Watching what you eat will get you somewhere, and it'll get you, But sometimes I've found that when people watch what they eat, they end up under eating, which is, which is hard work to get back from. Let's say you need 2,000 calories to eat, yeah, and you're getting 1,000 calories. What's your body going to do with 1,000 calories? Your body is just an efficient machine. It's just going to go, okay, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to slow everything down. So everything you do just becomes slower. So this is why people who go on a mad calorie deficit diet, and I mean like a mad diet, like a 5-2, or they fast for 2 days, or they eat 500 calories a day, or they're on the cabbage soup diet, or whatever, and someone loses 14 pound in a day, yeah? Basically, that's great, I would say 75% of that will be water, and they'll gain it back 2 days after they stop the diet, and they'll gain way more back as well. Because they were at such a calorie deficit before, now they've got to start, now you go back to 2,000 calories, and you're 1,000 calories over what you needed to eat before. Do you get me? So now you've got a big problem. People who undereat on calories have to diet the opposite way before they start losing weight again, which I know is bonkers, but I've had clients who come to me and needed 2,000 calories, but were eating 1,000 calories, and they didn't lose weight. And I promised them they would lose weight eventually if they started increasing the calories. So we start 1,100 calories, no weight loss a week later. 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories, 1,400 calories, no weight loss, no weight loss. 1,500 calories, a pound lost. Whoa, I've lost a pound, it took 6 weeks, yeah. But it's taken all that time to undo the shit that you did to yourself by eating so little. So we'll go again, 1,600, 1,700, 2 pound lost in a week. 1,800, 1,900, 2,000 calories, regularly eating 2 pound a week, no messing, no problem. Can't remember what your question was. Actually went off on a tangent, but I hope that the answer was in there somewhere. Okay? Thanks a lot for your question, Crazy Smurf 80. Mike Cousins, how do you get more power in your punch when boxing? I mean, how many answers are there to this question? There are so many answers. How do you get more power in? One, get stronger to begin with, first and foremost, right? Regardless of anything, get stronger. Two, get more mobile so that you can transfer that strength into a punch, okay? Three, learn. Find someone who can teach you the fundamentals of boxing and how to move and how to throw a punch properly, okay? So, for instance, you might have heard the term in boxing, turn your hand over, okay? And what does that mean? You know, it doesn't mean turn your hand over and break your wrist. It means turn the hand over, and when you're on the point of contact, whip that punch in. So you're going to hit with those two knuckles there. So there's one way you can develop more power, is rather than hitting straight and hitting with that part of your hand, try and hit over with the knuckles a little bit so the punch comes over and it turns. And when it lands, snap on target. You've all seen, well, you might have, I don't know. I'm just being assumptuous. But you must have seen the movie Karate Kid, yeah? And you've seen the second one where they've got the drums and they're like this, and they're talking about the motion of the body, and the drums are going, and it's basically linked to turning the body, turning the hips through, on punches, not just throwing arm punches, okay? Arm punches like this, nothing. I can't even do it. But arm punches, yeah? Body punches. So throwing the actual punch, but using the hips to get the power in, because the power comes from the floor. The force comes from the floor and comes up the back of your leg and out through, and you snap on the end of the punch, bang, there. Okay? Twist, bang. But you can't see my foot's twisting into the floor. So some people say, and it's a bad analogy really in the world of fitness and boxing, but put your cigarette out on the floor and squish it, okay? Or squish the bug. I've heard that said before. Squish the bug on the floor. Twist the hip, accelerate through, and snap on target. Get stronger. Get more mobile and flexible so that you can transfer that strength over into power and into a punch. Do some plyometric exercises that will develop power. And box. You know, learn off someone who can box. Turn punches over. You might have heard of the term sit down on a punch. And the first thing that comes to mind when somebody says sit down on a punch is if you've ever held on to a kid, right? Like a 2-year-old kid who weighs about, I don't know, 4 stone or whatever they weigh, yeah? But if that kid doesn't want to leave somewhere and decides that they're not going anywhere, they're very, very heavy all of a sudden, and you can't get them off the floor. You can't pick them up without ripping their arm out of the socket, yeah? That's sitting down, you know? And you should do that on your punches in order to get power in. But it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of going over technique, and it takes it over and over and over again. And eventually, you'll start feeling it, you know? When I take people on the pads, you can hear when a punch lands perfectly, and I can feel when it catches really nice in the pad. And then what I do with people when I take them on the pads is as soon as they land that perfect punch, good, really well done, that's the best one you've thrown, copy that one. Because it's pointless me telling you, do this, do that, do this, do that. You can go away and practice that, but if you can't feel it, then you won't know what I mean until you feel it. Do you get me? Right. It's one of those things that you've got to go off feel. And eventually you'll do it that many times that it feels right every time you do it. Boom, boom, felt right, boom. One will go, boom, didn't feel right. That was shit. But you've done more feel rights than feel wrongs. Do you get me? And eventually you'll have it. down to a little bit, and then you probably start all over again because you never stop learning where boxing's concerned. My cousins, that was a long answer to your question, but I hope it answered it. I hope you can hear me. My fridge is shut up now. My fridge was being very loud a minute ago. So we're getting a few people coming on there and getting some questions rolling in. Obviously, we're getting some funny comments of people. And yeah, I can't say that. I can't mention that. I can wave to you though. Best way to grow your lateral heads. Now, that's a friend of mine. So, lateral heads, he might actually be talking about this one here. If you're not talking about that and you're talking about your delts, it's funny my friend should ask this because I would ask him best way to grow your neck. Because if you've seen the neck on this guy, you'd find it funny, the question he's asking me. But lateral head, deltoid, I think he's talking about battering with lat raises. And battering all different ways, you know. I would say hit them heavy, hit them light, hit them for massive amounts of reps, you know. I'm sure there's plenty of slow twitch muscle fibers in the shoulders there because, I mean, they do a lot of work, you know. They're always working. So it's more predominantly probably slow twitch fibers. But those muscle fibers can take on the characteristics of the big fast twitch muscle fibers, which is what we want. Which is when I say fast twitch and I say slow twitch, I'm talking the difference between a sprinter and a marathon runner. Yeah, fast twitch, sprinter, marathon runner, slow twitch. Okay, but those slow twitch muscle fibers can take on the characteristics of fast twitch muscle fibers. But you've got to batter them. Okay, so they will grow. And I like to do drop sets. You know. 12 reps, drop them down, 12 reps again, 8 reps, 6 reps, just till I can't move them anymore. And again, shortening that range of motion. When I can't physically do any more, I'll come here and I'll do little ones there, and even to the bottom I'll do ones there. I'll absolutely just annihilate my shoulders. And the funny thing is, as well, I never really get that sore in my shoulders, so they can take it. That's why I know the fast twitch muscle fibers in there. So yeah, batter them, absolutely batter them, you know. Hit them with all different rep ranges, hit them with all different exercises. Lat raises are probably the key. Bent over lat raises for the rear delt, lat raises out to the side, single lat raises, leaning and lat raising, you know, all different combinations of those exercises for the lateral heads. If you're talking about lateral head and deltoid, and you're not talking about this lateral head. Let's have a look. Amy joined. Wave. Happy birthday, Amy Tolan, for yesterday, because I forgot. I'm so sorry. And Callum wanted to be in my video, so of course, mate. Join. Oh, Callum wants to be. What? I don't get that. Two Smokes K's. How do I get rid of Clive? He's a real pain. Oh, mate, really, you want rid of Clive? He's been there for a while now. Clive, I tell you how you get rid of Clive. You do pad work with me this Saturday at the Village Hotel in Bury, and we'll work on getting rid of Clive, and we'll say goodbye to him, okay? Crazy Smurf 80 has just hit me with the word I was looking for when I was talking about deficit, and I was talking about the opposite of deficit, which I couldn't remember for the life of me. Surplus. There you go. Surplus. I like that word. I'm keeping it. Mike, join. Mike, ask me a question, mate. Ask me something boxing related. Two Smokes. Who is your favourite cousin? You are my favourite cousin. Hopefully my other cousins aren't watching, but you are definitely my favourite cousin. And I can't wait to spend some time with you this weekend. We'll have a brew. We'll do some pads. We'll get some videos. We'll have a sauna as well, and we'll get rid of Clive. Training stuff. Join. Calorie credit. Credit, yeah, credit's a word. Is it? Credit? Yeah, credit's a word. Calorie credit. Prefer surplus. Surplus has been said twice. Thanks everybody for giving me the details here. You know I love CrossFit. This is Mike. How do I build endurance without compromising muscle mass and lifting strength? I mean, how do you? How can I answer this seriously? You know, when you look at some CrossFit athletes, they're in phenomenal shape. There's no denying it. You know, I don't really know that much about CrossFit other than you have a workout of the day and it's random and and it burns you out and you're supposed to build muscle. First of all, mate, how do you build endurance without compromising muscle mass and lifting strength? First of all, lift the strength. You know what I mean? Develop strength. That would be my first port of call, because every other aspect of your training depends on strength, strength, endurance, strength, flexibility, blah, blah, blah. Work on strength singularly or separately to CrossFit, I don't dislike CrossFit. I mean, it's great and it gets people training. But if your goal is to preserve muscle and you're doing excessive amounts of reps on something and burning excessive amounts of calories, then you'll have a problem there. So you could build endurance by, first of all, building strength. And you could keep your workouts very short. You could work on high intensity interval training if you wanted to build endurance without compromising muscle mass. That is the answer I'm looking for. Because high intensity interval training will probably develop muscle mass. So when I talk about high intensity interval training, the first thing that comes to mind is sprinting. And the second thing that comes to mind is the shape of sprinters, and they don't compromise strength and they don't compromise muscle mass. So, doing high intensity interval training will build lean muscle mass and also endurance. So I would say stick to that. What a question though, and one that really got me thinking. That was pretty intense, that question. Thank you, Mike, and hopefully I'll see you this week. I'm waving to everybody. Have we got any more questions? How can I do the splits? Stuart Ogden. I wish I could tell you. I might have been able to tell you maybe 20 years ago because I was nearly there. But how can you do them? I'll tell you how you can do them, right? You can set a goal with me, and we can say that we're going to be in the splits by Christmas. How about that? Me and you, splits by Christmas, yeah? I don't know how I ever thought of that, but I challenge you to be in the splits by Christmas, okay? I hope that answers your question. A little private joke there between. Hips, form, hips. There you go. That's from Phil. Form and hips. I'm not sure what that means, mate. But let's wait to a few more people. Hi. Anybody, any more questions? Let's get some questions coming in. You in the gym tomorrow? Yes, Christy J123. I will be in the gym tomorrow at Littleborough. Brew. I'll be in there from 7 o'clock. Yeah, I don't have anything on tomorrow night, so I will take you on the pads tomorrow night, and I look forward to it, actually. Because you, man, could answer my man's question about how to develop power in the punch, because you, man, have got plenty of power in that punch. Is it worth taking creatine? Is it worth taking creatine? Yeah, it is. Like, if your goal is to have more endurance, more muscular endurance, gain more muscle, or maybe water weight or whatever. But when I first started dieting and I was losing weight, or the past few weeks, I actually took some creatine as an experiment to see what would happen. And I actually gained about 4 pounds, which I was really pleased about, whilst continuing to lose. Seem to have kept some of that. And from what I've read, you can continue to use creatine. People say 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, but apparently, according to some experts, can't remember which one, but you can continue to use it throughout. But I feel like it's best if you cycle it for maybe 4 week on, 4 week off. And some people say do a loading phase on creatine. So taking 20 grams, split 4 times throughout the day for the first 5 days, and then going on and reducing it to 5 grams a day. Some people say no loading phase, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? I did a loading phase and I took 5 grams of creatine a day for 3 weeks. I gained 4 pounds. I was very happy with, and I'd lost body fat as well. So yeah, is it worth taking creatine? I think it is. Ursula, what's the best way to overcome a weight loss plateau? The best way to overcome a weight loss plateau is to find out where you're at, okay? So most people plateau when they either are too low in a calorie deficit or they start letting things creep back in here and there, okay? So they become unaccountable for what they're eating, okay? And when you say to somebody, what have you had to eat today? And they can't tell you, and they're trying to lose weight, they really should know. Wow, the battery on the iPhone, by the way, is shocking. And so the best way I would say is go back to the drawing board, start again, and think last time, when you did this last time, if you lost weight before, and you have done before, how did you do it? How did you sustain it? How are you back to where you are now? Did you let things creep in? All right, what can we do about that? First of all, we can get pad of paper, yeah? We can write everything down. Or we can get an app like MyFitnessPal, and we can start weighing our food out during the week. I know it sounds like a right ball ache, but how good would it be if after, say, 6 months of doing this, you never needed to do it again? Because I'll go around this kitchen of mine now, and I've got a scoop for this, 30 grams. I've got a scoop for that, 100 grams. I know what a chicken breast weighs before I put it in, so I can put it in my MyFitnessPal. That's what, yes, the saviour with the cable is here, the wife with the cable. So go back to the drawing board, start again, be honest with yourself. What have I been doing wrong recently? Not wrong, but where am I? I don't know where I am because I didn't track my calories. All right, track them again for a little bit. See where you're at. I do this all the time. I gain weight, I lose weight. I gain weight, I lose weight. And then every single time when I lose weight again and I consistently lose weight and I go back to doing a competition or something like that, I think it wasn't possible to get to this level of body fat without knowing exactly what I was eating every day. Or the odd day skipping, like I might miss at the weekend, But that's what I would say. I would say go back to the drawing board, reevaluate, write everything down, find out where you're at, and then you'll have your own answers for it. I hope that answers your question. Just going down, seeing if there's any more outside delts. Yeah, we got onto that. Bang, bang, bang. Amy Torlon. All right, I'll answer this one actually, because it's pretty funny. What are the 2 most embarrassing moments you've had with a client this sort? Okay, this was with my client, Amy. We reached a new client trainer embarrassment level. She challenged me on the leg press because she's very strong. She does about 280. She's probably going to correct me on that in a minute. But 280 on the leg press, okay, for about 4 reps. She said, I bet you can't do more than that. And if I'm honest, I couldn't do much more than that. So I put 300 kilo on the leg press, which I know people are going to say, oh, it's not a lot, blah, blah, blah. I give a shit. 300 kilo on the leg press. I think it was probably about the 3rd rep when I had a little accident and let one slip. That was the first embarrassing moment. It was quite loud. Luckily, it didn't smell too bad. So, and it bonded us even further, believe it or not. The second most embarrassing moment was with the same client, Amy. She failed on a squat and I was stood behind her, but I wasn't fully involved. I didn't have my hands under her armpits to get hold of her in the squat, but I didn't expect that she'd just take her hands off the bar and just stand there with 80 kilos on her shoulders. Now, I'm pretty strong, yeah, but 80 kilos is a lot for any man to curl, unless you're Ronnie Coleman. So I ended up having to basically hump her into the squat rack and drop the weights, which was quite embarrassing. And we tried to find the video footage for it actually, because it would have made a good outtake video, but we didn't find it. So moving on from that, Danny Long's waving over here. Nice beard, mate. Thank you. Appreciate it. Can you actually see it? Yeah, I'm going for it. It's a bit orange. Okay, so let's have a look at more. Baz Rutten breathing mask, quality for cardio endurance during exertion. Okay, I would argue the point that cardiovascular work needs oxygen, and I know what they're doing with the. I think you're talking about the mask that they put over the face for cardio, but just I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just one of those gimmicky things that they throw over the face. Training in an altitude chamber. Now we're talking, or training at altitude. Yeah, obviously, look at all the Ethiopian runners. They train at altitude and they go some, because of the level of oxygen in your blood. But starving yourself of oxygen while you're training just seems like more punishment to me. So yeah, and you look a bit like Bane from. It's always the same type of people that have these masks on as well. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, onwards. Baz Rutten training mask. Strength but not size. Don't want to be huge. Keep the reps lower, like 6 reps, 6 to 8 reps, and lift as heavy as you can. That's what I'd say on that one. Henry James Fitness, hi. Hi, Henry. Good to see you. How do you develop good punching power with your weak hand? So, probably talking about the jab, the lead hand. Now, the lead hand has a lot of power when it comes to a hook, and that's because you get your hips behind and you load the front leg up before. People talk about percentages. People talk about 70% on the back leg, 30% on the front leg, blah, blah, blah. I prefer to talk about feel, all right? So you feel the weight move from one. So developing good punching power. I mean, there's tons of punching power in a left hook. Let's say that's your weaker arm, yeah, if you're right-handed. But to develop more punching power on a jab, you've got to stamp on the jab. So by that, I mean, like, step in with the jab, step in with the jab. Rather than just throwing it with an arm shot, step in and get your back behind it, get the foot behind it, get the whole snap on target behind it as well. So yeah, jump in a little bit with your jab. Not much, just a little step to get a little bit of momentum behind it, because, you get so much power from the backhand because it's got so much room to travel, but it's also got a lot of force generated from the floor, and it's wound up like an elastic band. Yeah, you can't really replicate that when it's your lead hand, but you can just by stamping on the jab a little bit and throwing a little bit of a foot stomp in there with the jab. Not a foot stomp as in wrestling, like slapping your head in the head foot stomp kind of thing. I hope that answers your question there. I hope you're not going to go out and jab anyone. With my dodgy knees, what activity is best to take the pressure off but be able to work my ass and legs? Well, working your ass is easy without putting pressure on your knees. So, pelvic extension. By that I mean every embarrassing exercise you can think of doing in a gym probably comes down to glutes, all right? So you could focus on the glutes by, I can't really demonstrate here, but glute bridges, different variations of bridges. You could strengthen the hamstrings up to take pressure off the knee joint. You could also use the leg extension to strengthen up the vastus medialis muscle and the lateralis, basically the quad muscles. You could strengthen the quad muscles. I would work on strengthening those muscles, and also with your dodgy knees, you could do some pre-exhausting work on an exercise, like using the bands. The bands are very popular now, probably due to Instagram videos from various fitness professionals and what have you, and they look cool, but they do actually send a lot of blood into the muscles. So I would look at getting some resistance bands, the ones that go around your knees, and then you do the adductor work when you bring your knees out to the side. And I would work on strengthening your legs and feeling it in the muscle and not the joint. Okay, so stay away from bounding, lunging, hopping, skipping, that kind of thing. And, don't run so much. I mean, fucking running, man, it's good and everything, but I don't know anyone that's got good joints from running constantly, you know what I mean? Unless they do a lot of strength work as well and look after themselves that way. So yeah, don't run as much. Walk uphill a little bit, work your glutes. It's great to be chatting with everyone. And do you know what? That actually went really well. Way better than I actually thought it would. And I've been blabbing on for 46 minutes. So I'm going to knock it on the head right now because I need to be asleep for 9 o'clock because I'm up at 5:30. So basically, I hope that everybody who asked a question got their question answered. If not, and you think that this was decent and you would like to hear something like this again, then I'll do it again, if there's a bit of a demand for it. I really enjoyed doing it. I thought it'd be weird talking to myself, but it turns out I'm a weirdo anyway. So I'm happy talking to myself in my kitchen with my little brew in me. So basically, yeah, get on to me. Comment, like it. This is the bit. Look, go on my website, Matt Nuttall, Strength and Conditioning. There's blogs on there, there's articles on there that's been written that you could read that might inspire you to do something that might, you might actually decide after reading one of them that you're going to try dieting a little bit, there might be some good content in there. Anyway, I want to kind of do this. Got me through my drive home. Good, mate. I bet that was a drive home as well, eh? What are you doing on Instagram on your phone anyway? Let me know if you liked it. Leave a comment. Follow me on Instagram, Matt_Nuttall, Nuttall 1. Matt_Nuttall 1. Check the website out, mattnuttallstrengthandconditioning.com. Go on Google, type my name in Google. Some stuff will come up. I'm going to do more of this. I really enjoyed it. I hope you can tell from this question and answer session that I'm very passionate about what I do. And, I'd like to do more of this. So if you liked it, like it on Facebook, on Instagram, follow my website. Anyway, I'm talking shit now. So I'm going to go to bed. Okay, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. And look out for the next one. I'll create a group, and I think I'm going to do this again in maybe 4 weeks' time. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Over and out. Yeah, you can come in now.
They did it at the time.
Yeah.